Alrighty. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Monoxide Podcast. I am your host, Harris AKA Monoxide, man of many automotive ambitions, and I'm here with my co-host.
Hey guys, my name is Sean. I drive a orange BMW and a blue Durango. Very neat cars, and if you ever see me around, say what's up. And this is the Monoxide Podcast, where we take you beyond the meat and kind of introduce you to some of the drivers of some of the vehicles in our community. And I think that's your cue to take it.
That's my cue.
Yeah.
You know, you really sell those cars short, like the 1M and a Durango. Like, they're such limited cars. We did a whole thing on this, and he's always like, "Yeah, I just drive a basic ass Durango." Like, you got to amp it up more.
Okay, sorry. Durango Hellcat. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, take it to the takeover. Today, we have a fantastic guest here who, by some miracle I found out in the last 2 years, is my neighbor. Today, we have Rat. I don't know how to say your full name.
Rathana is what everybody, it's the way it's pronounced, but...
everybody just calls you Rat.
Yeah, for short, everybody calls me Rat. Just makes it so much easier.
Yep, so Rat here is the owner of Ratified Motorsport. That's kind of what we all know you for. Mm-hmm. I was just telling Sean this. I'm like, up until maybe 2 years ago, I did not realize that you can get double the horsepower of an R8 in an RS3. Mm-hmm. So I did not understand the world of Audis until I discovered you guys. So just kind of tell us a little bit about what Ratified is, and then we kind of just go into, I guess, how you got to where you are today after that. So
Sure, yeah. So Ratified was a little side project of mine that I started when I was working for another shop in Burnsville. And it's just a little side gig. I was fixing cars in the garage after hours, selling parts here and there online, and just literally it's just a side gig in the garage. Mm-hmm. Once COVID hit, it was my time to leave. We all got laid off, so I was like, you know what, probably a good time to take it full time, take Ratified full time. So went ahead and did that. We started out with a little shop out of a good friend of mine, out of his shop. He had just bought a shop that had an extra bay. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, shit, this might work. So I just went ahead and, started working out of that thing. And then I had another coworker of mine that was at Neurotechnic in Burnsville, where we worked together. And he came and helped me out. And from there, we just kind of blew up. And then eventually got up our way to Shakopee and Chaska area, where another shop was shutting down. So, I bought in that place and kind of stayed there and just blew up from there too.
Heads up, just get this like a little bit
Sure.
closer.
Okay.
Yeah, got that.
Hot dog.
No, trust me, you're the worst person we've had, and he knows this. I've told him this a million times. Eric's garage, when he was on here, he's got the blue McLaren. When he was on here, he'd be way back here. And then he'd be way up here, like telling everybody, so trust, like we've seen everything. But
Yep.
So then, wait, so hold on, did you not have your own shop until COVID then?
Great. Yeah, no, I started Ratified on side gig at 2018. So I did it for 2 years by myself, just side stuff.
Oh, damn,
but,
okay.
Literally went full time 2020.
Okay.
So within the last 3 years, we've blown up to out of the garage to a one-stall shop, to the shop in Chaska, and then now we bought a shop in St. Louis Park.
Okay.
So yeah, 3 years.
That is freaking crazy how fast things can blow up, dude.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I thought you were like around for like ever for some reason.
No, well, I've been around forever.
Yeah, true.
In the car scene. Yeah, everybody knew me from. I used to do a lot of work for Nerd, so I built a few cars over there. Did all the diagnostic stuff over there, so that's where I kind of got myself into the market, and my name went out from there. But me living in Mankato, it wasn't really
right.
There wasn't much of a car scene there. It was all up here. So
when you lived up in Mankato, were you commuting down to Neur?
Yeah, 7 years.
That's like an hour plus drive, right?
It is an hour. Yeah, an hour drive there, hour drive back. So I mean, granted, yeah, it was an 2-hour drive, not here and there, but it was my 2 hour like me time, which was really helpful. It calmed me down. But the stressful thing was I was never home.
Yeah.
That really took a toll on the wife and the family. I went to work in the morning. Kids were out of school. Came home. They were sleeping. So
yeah, we can see that with Trey.
yeah. Now you know why. But yeah, it's just like I said, it's Mankato drive, 2 hours. But yeah, did that for 7 years. And then, like I said, we're down in St. Louis Park now.
Yeah, that's a good setup. Yeah, I like that location too. That's near like where I used to once upon a time have a job.
Sure.
But yeah, so I guess are you still in contact with do you like have a good relationship with the other shops over there that you used to work with, or?
As far as Nur goes, I would hope so.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to him in a while. And
Okay.
he doesn't reach out. I don't reach out. I mean,
That's good.
We're kind of on a
Neutral.
yeah, we're on a chat group together. We call it our Blacklist customer.
I've heard of that group.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's a chat group for shops that have a blacklist for customers who are really hard to deal with. And so we're in that.
Yeah,
chat
like tire
group.
kickers and all that.
So we're in that group chat together. But other than that, we don't talk to each other anymore. I mean, I wish we did. I mean, I have no hard feelings. Hope he doesn't have no hard feelings, but
Yeah, it's just you're both busy. Like, you
Right.
know, as a business owner, you kind of just forget to reach out to people, especially like, you know, the bigger you get in the community, it's
Right.
like everybody all of a sudden has your phone number. I remember the best post I saw from you was like, stop hitting my line. Like, just reach through the shop for shop
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And it's true.
yeah, it gets overwhelming, especially when you're laying in bed and your phone goes off and your wife's like, "Oh, you're working again." You know, it's like 10 o'clock at night. It's like, I like to have a little me time.
Right.
So that's when that hit. You know, it's like, I don't know if you know JWP.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Uh-huh.
Great guy. But he's like always. You're always able to get a hold of him, no matter
Yeah.
what. And he'll pick up at 10 o'clock, midnight, whatever
Yeah.
the time is, and he likes that. I like my me time. So it's like from 5 o'clock, I don't want to do any more work. You know, I've been doing it for God knows 20 years now.
Right.
So it's like there has to be a cutoff somewhere, and that's when I posted that. It's like, yeah, I need to set boundaries to
Yeah.
where family time and work time, and that's kind of how that all went around.
There's something to be said about being like short in your responses too, and that's something that it's a art and a skill over time. But like, you can't, like, everybody wants you to have this long answer, especially in Minnesota. You got to play the Minnesota nice game, so it's like everybody has a paragraph, and it's like yes or no, just, you know, simple as that.
Yeah.
But so you did 7 years at the other company. So then, what were you doing before that? Like, what got you, I guess, into working on cars?
Well, that's a long story in itself.
Yeah.
So
Well, we got a while. So.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we want to back up all the way to the beginning.
Okay.
My dad actually started a shop.
Okay.
Him and my uncle were going to start a shop out, and we're originally from Marshall, in a small little town, like 12,000 people, whatever. And my uncle was from Green Bay, and my dad wanted to start a shop. And my uncle was already working at a Toyota dealership, and asked him to move down, and then those two make a shop together. That happened. They bought a shop, started doing it, started renovating it, getting ready to go. All at the same time, they're both, my dad and my uncle, still had a job, full-time job, 9 to 5, whatever. Went to work then. At night, went to the shop and renovated. With all that stress on my uncle, he ended up having a stroke and lost mobility at half his side, his left side. And from there, it was just, my uncle could no longer work with my dad. So that's where I kind of stepped in and was like, well, I'm capable of working. Let me see what I can do. So I just kind of, I should say I've been in cars anyways. I was Honda guy. Being Asian. Stereotypical,
It's a rite of passage.
Right, exactly. So we all grew up with Hondas, and that's where, I played around Hondas. Got my license. First car was a Toyota Camry my parents bought me. Lasted 2 weeks, broke. A couple months later, got a Honda. And from there, the Honda just kind of grew from there. But back to the story. So I ended up jumping in, helping my dad run the shop after work or after school. Sometimes during school, because I skip school to go work with my dad. So that just kind of went on. Then when I turned 18, graduated, went to school for it, St. Paul Tech. Got my 2-year degree, came back to Marshall. At that time, my dad had shut down because it was just him. He couldn't run it anymore, so he shut down.
And this is like a regular repair shop.
Yeah,
I
just a
take it,
general repair shop, nothing performance or anything like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But I mean, we still dinking around with our stuff,
Right.
Here's a little story. I used to work at Jiffy while I went to school in St. Paul, and I bought a Honda Del Sol, like a '94 Honda Del Sol. This was after one of my Hondas got stolen, and I got it back from insurance, and they had cut everything, stripped everything out, but they left the motor. So I ended up buying a Honda Del Sol from a coworker of mine in Jiffy Lube. Took it home on a Friday night. Got home Friday night. Saturday morning, swapped that engine out. Took my engine. I did the manual swap all on the weekend, and went back to work on Monday, or went back to school and work on Monday. So it's like, let's just say I've been doing it for a long time, so I knew how to do this stuff quickly. So I mean, we still did that kind of stuff around my dad's shop, but other than that, it was mostly general repair.
So then, were you learning like kind of on the job? Was like your dad the one teaching you, or like
No,
I'm
all self-taught.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad didn't know squat about fixing cars. You know, he just kind of jumped in it and was hoping my uncle would be the one to teach him. Yeah. But you know, with him out of the picture, my dad had to learn. Like he was fully invested at this point.
So purely just like, hey, turning around to see what happens.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm all self-taught, and then you know, obviously, I got a little education out of school. You know, I learned the basics from there, but you know, you're only as good as what you take in.
Right.
So I took in quite a bit from there, learned quite a bit, but my diagnostic skills I really learned from basically just buying a car, figuring out, you know, doing what I need to do to get it to run right or fix whatever it needs to be fixed. Mm-hmm. And that's how I learned. It's just buying my own car, doing it my own, selling it, move on to the next. Because by the time I was like 20, I probably went through 30 cars. So it's just a matter of fixing them, buying them, flipping them. So that's kind of how that went.
So you're making a little bit of side cash flipping them too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's something that's really hot right now. Like I remember I had a coworker at my 2 companies ago. They were just like, "Hey, we're gonna go fix this car this weekend," because they're just using like Chris Fix and all these like online resources to figure it out. And it's like, yeah, I just made like $5,000 2 weekends ago. It's like,
it's a good passive income if you're good at it. But it's also kind of demanding because nowadays with the internet, it's gotten a lot worse, where people will make fun of your pricing and all that stuff. You know, when you post stuff, like there's just, you know,
everybody has an opinion.
Everybody has an opinion. So it's just like I got really sick and tired of dealing with it. It's like I can't deal with selling cars anymore because everybody just has something to say that, you know,
like Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah. That, and also, you know, Facebook Marketplace is it still available? Yep. No response. So it's just, I get tired of it.
The classic.
Yeah.
I've noticed that Facebook Marketplace literally breaks people.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just can't handle it.
I refuse to post anything now. I'm like, hey Trey, post this, or hey Sean, post this. Like, I don't want to deal with it at all.
Yeah, you're always posting stuff on Facebook Marketplace, aren't you?
When I feel like it, but when my soul gets crushed, I stop. You know, I sell my few items. I'm like, I don't want to do this for a while. Like, I get so sick and tired of dealing with the hassle. You know, it takes time to sell stuff.
It
you
does.
know,
it was so funny
you just
though.
sit there, but you know, you post it on the first day, and in like the first hour, people are already lowballing you. They're already like, cut the price like 50%, and it's like, where are you guys getting this number from? Like, I post stuff and I'm very fair with my pricing. You know, I'm not like, you know, over here trying to do like AMR on the, you know, BMW Z3, you know, add like $3K on it or whatever.
You just reminded me of Kyle. So we had Kyle Larkin or whatever on a podcast a few episodes ago from MAP, and he literally just goes trolling on Facebook Marketplace. Like he's like, somebody's gonna take it eventually. If I lowball everybody by 90%, eventually I'll get the guy that's gonna be like,
somebody's gonna say yes. Somebody's just desperate to get rid of it.
Well, you go into rage selling fits. So we had a conversation about this a few weeks ago. He's like, yeah, sometimes I'll just go in the garage and just take pictures of everything and start listing it.
Yeah, it's that easy. You just take a couple pictures, you post it online, and then somebody sends you, you know, some crazy offer, and you're like, no. And then like maybe a week later, you're like, okay, maybe I will take that crazy offer, but like not in the first day.
Yeah.
We are not sponsored by Facebook Marketplace.
Do they sponsor people?
I don't know.
I doubt that.
I wouldn't think so.
No, the biggest company in the world, social company in the world, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think they're worried about sponsorships.
But that's crazy. So you would just buy a car like the Honda Del Sol, and then you would do an engine swap in one weekend.
Well, that car actually made a shitload of money on. I bought it for like $1,500, and I had all the parts to do it. I eventually added nitrous and then did a body kit, and you know, this is the 90s, so you know, the 90s body kits. Everybody loved that crap back then. And I listed it on eBay actually. And I think I got, if I remember right, I got $13,000 for it.
Oh my god!
Yep. And I probably had maybe $1,000, $2,000 of my own money in it, other than the stuff that I already had laying around. So I mean,
so that's basically free.
Right? Yeah. So I made a killing off that.
Guy math.
Yeah, so that's what kind of got me through life, because I didn't really hold a job back then. It's just me working late nights on cars, flipping them, and working on my own stuff and tinkering with stuff, basically.
Yeah. I don't think if you locked me and Harris in this shop for 72 hours, we could do an engine swap in that time. Even if you gave us all the tools, all the internet, all the parts, I don't think we'd be able to do it.
Okay, with all the internet, I suppose, but in the 90s, I would not have had a chance. Not a fucking chance. That's freaking rowdy. Okay, so then you went from the Del Sol days. So then fill in the gap between that and then going to Near Technics. So what were you doing in between then?
In between then, well, I started life early. I had Trey when I was 16, so that kind of motivated me to, get my shit straight.
Yeah.
Being in high school, wife was 15 at the time, so like I said, we got ourselves into trouble, but it made us grow up real quick.
Okay.
So with that, my wife held a job. I had to do stuff. I kept flipping cars. I jumped between jobs, just to say that I had a job. And from there, after high school, we graduated. I went to school. My wife went to school. She got an early childhood development degree at one of those local schools down there.
How's that time-wise? Because that's got to be because having a kid and then two parents going to school.
Yeah, my wife stayed back in Tracy, because Tracy is the town that we grew up in. So she stayed down there and went to school and had Trey with her full-time while I went to school up in the city. So I was up in the cities all week. Weekends, I came home every weekend. So every Saturday, Sunday, I'd be home. Or if she wanted to come up, she'd bring Trey up and would spend the weekend up here. So we did that for 2 years. So with that said, once I got done with school, I ended up not getting a job, not doing anything for like 6 months. And then the wife said she wants to move. She wants to move to Mankato. I'm like, okay, let's just pick up and leave. Like, we didn't have nothing. We didn't have jobs lined up.
Right.
We just went there, and she found an apartment by the campus, by a college campus. Like, man, we're gonna have a family up by campus. Awesome. So we moved up to Briar Gate, is what they call the campus up there, the apartment campus, and we moved there. No jobs. I just randomly applied at the Volkswagen dealer as a lube tech, and got a job there right away. They were looking for help anyways. So that I did I was a lube tech for maybe 3 months, because they didn't have any openings for as a tech at that time, but they said they can, just get my foot in the door. I would start as a lube tech. So 3 months into that, I got promoted to a tech, and then I worked for them for about 2 years until the new owners took over. And then from there, I met a few people, Josh and Nate, that own Express Care. It was a Valvoline quick lube place. I walked in there, worked for them on the side for a little bit. They were paying me, cash, whatever, just to get me by. And then they had a fallout, and I bought in as a partner to that business, and with another coworker of mine that was at the dealership. So we both bought into that. Ran that for I don't know, maybe 3 years, I think, and that got overly tiresome, because that's literally the same thing over and over. Oil changes, general repair, and that's not what I wanted in life.
Right.
It's very, very boring life. I wanted something more. So then that's when I met David at Nerdtechnic, and then got hooked up with him, and decided to just give up my ownership there and go work for him and help him grow his business, because this was his second year in business.
Okay.
So,
and how'd you guys meet?
We met through friends.
Okay.
We went on
a Honda show or something? Or?
No, it was they call it a weekend of speed.
Okay.
We all, just a bunch of friends, got together with cars, went out to Sturgis. They had a cabin out there, and we stayed at the cabin, and we just ripped around the roads up there in our cars. So at that time, I had an E46 M3.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Okay.
I actually had 2 of them.
That's awesome.
So I had that, and I met David through that, and we just kind of hit it off, and I eventually ended up working for him and help him grow his business. And that's kind of how I got the insight of what to do, what not to do, because I ran my own business for a little bit. It wasn't very profitable. It is now, because new owners took over, but that's kind of where I learned the do's and don'ts through helping David and having my own things. And then, like I said, from there, 7 years, COVID hit, got laid off, and here we are. So that's basically my life.
So how'd you go from being, loop tech and techs at these, pretty general maintenance repairs, right, to building, high performance Audis? Where was that transition? Was that at Near?
No, so I really didn't start building cars at my level until I bought my RS3, and that was in 2018.
Yeah.
And I really got hooked on the RS3s because when we went to SEMA that year, 2018, and Hank Iraz is out there in Vegas. And so we went to SEMA, stopped at Hank's place. He gave me a ride in it, and I was just hooked.
Okay.
I was like, from there, I'm like, damn, this little Ford can do this? Yeah, I'm hooked. So I was like, fuck, I'm going to go buy one. And eventually found one in New York. It was like 1,300 miles on it, two owners.
Okay.
Or I was the second owner, or I should say one owner. I became the second owner, but it was 1,300 miles, $52,000. I was like, fuck, it's mine. So I put a deposit down on it and bought it. And now, which is stupid because you can still pay the same price that I bought my car for nowadays with 50,000 miles on it. It's ridiculous how the market is with the
crazy.
RS3. So that's how I started doing that. But yeah, it's as far as getting into the big builds, that didn't start happening until I started playing out the RS3s.
Okay.
And that was all just experimentation. Buying parts, putting it on, following what other people are doing, other shops are doing, and just kind of get the niche of it, and then showcasing, hey, Minnesota has a really fast RS3, and it happens to be mine. So it's like people knew that, or people started seeing that. I started going to events, and people were like, "Damn, that's a fast four-door."
Yeah, especially after Crown Rally, when I saw the video of you going on the salt flats. I think you won that year, right? On the fastest miles per hour.
Not officially, but I think I did have the fastest speed. Yeah. I think I hit 196, 197 or something like that officially.
Which is like sleet, by the way. Everybody that said that they did the salt flats, they said it was literally like driving on ice.
Oh yeah, it's literally just ice. That's what it felt like. If you watch the video on YouTube, it's me on the throttle, off the throttle, on the throttle, off the throttle. Because every time it felt like I was gonna, kick around, I let off, I straighten up, get down on it again, and go straight again.
All the way up until 197. That's insane.
My God.
I probably would have hit 200 if I would just kind of stayed in it, but they said let off when you hit the flags. So I was like, I don't know how much distance I have, but I'm just gonna let off. Who knows?
How long of a run or runway did they have for you?
If I remember right, it was a full mile.
Okay.
Of acceleration, and then a full mile of stopping.
Okay.
But I didn't. It was my first time out. I didn't do a second time. I only did it one time because it was sketchy as shit the first time.
Yeah, I feel like it wasn't just like luck, but there's some skill, with you feathering the throttle and all that, getting back in control.
For street cars,
yeah, but like risking that a second time, you're like, let's do that again. It's like going on a roller coaster that's part of it's broken.
Did you see that video of the roller coaster that was broken a few weeks ago?
Yeah, one of the support arms were broken, and they were running that thing.
Sketchy.
You could literally see the tracks moving. It was like, that's what I imagine.
Yeah, miss me with that shit.
Driving down the salt flats would be like. I wonder what kind of tires they run on the. What do they call it? They're just like
the world record cars.
Yeah, the 300 plus mile an hour cars.
I don't even know.
Like the tires they must run must be like super. Sticky, or they got to be like treaded for that.
Dude, that is a Jesus take the wheel moment. You would never see me on that. I was gonna ask. So you met Hank Iraz. So then, since you started building Audis or getting into the Audi scene, who did you have as mentors, or is there anybody along the way that you just kind of relied on or asked for advice the most?
No, not really. I've always been the type of person who just do it myself. I have people that I can get support on, but it's like, I wouldn't say I went to my own horn here, but I felt like I was smarter than the people that I was talking to.
Yeah.
So I was just like, do I really need their advice? It's nice to have it. But I already know the answer to it.
Right, or you can figure it out on your own, yeah.
Right, or they'll confirm it, and I already knew that. So, stuff like that, because the diagnostic field, because that's where I kind of grew my trade really well. It was diagnostic, because I'm really good at that. Is I didn't have anybody to rely on. I was always the lead tech where I was. I had the only other resources that I had was the internet, all data, Identifix, whatnot, and the tooling I had. So, and the training I did myself.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody paid for my training. Well, besides, never did pay for one of my BMW classes, but other than that, I'm all self-taught. Like, I would just learn it myself. The only real way to fix a car, so say if you have a problem, is to know how the system works.
Uh-huh.
And I teach myself that first. Teach myself to know, if the system fails, what's a byproduct of it.
Mm-hmm.
If power is out on this wire, what other effects it has on the whole system. So you just gotta learn how it works, and then from there, it's easy peasy.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I've always been, is I do it all myself. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I looked at the internet, got some ideas here and there. As far as like building the car, the RS3s, it's really not something that's proprietary to the RS3 world. It's Hank Iras has been like the leader at it.
Mm-hmm.
So my build, it's a very, very simple build.
Mm-hmm.
It's rods, pistons, IMS turbo kit,
Okay.
and bolt-on stuff, intercooler, the supporting mods like clutches and stuff like that. Other than that, it's like I said, it's literally just bolting stuff on.
And that's all it takes for 1100 wheel, huh?
Well, the tuning is a major part of it too.
Okay.
And using the right parts. I mean,
Yeah.
I went through a ton of parts that was in testing phases.
Yeah.
Like fuel pumps. I went through maybe 3 different fuel pumps to get to where I'm at today.
Yeah. I think I remember seeing you post something about this like a year or two ago. Like you were testing some stuff, or maybe it was Trey or something.
Yeah. So I did a lot of R&D for a few companies, and we found out what worked, what didn't work. So, I mean, at that portion, yeah, I was relying on other people to kind of give me ideas and whatnot. But it's more so it's just taking the product, testing it personally. And this stuff wasn't free because I had to pay for all this stuff. People seem to think that I got all these parts for free. No, I paid for everything on this car.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, going through 3 fuel pumps at $1,000 each, even some at $2,000 each. It wasn't cheap to test these fuel pumps out to only find out they didn't work.
Right.
So there was a lot of wasted money, but in the end, that stuff I learned what works and what doesn't work and what not to use. So that there's a skill there too, just not going out on eBay and buying the cheapest thing in the world and put on your car and expect it to have the same performance as a $2,000 fuel pump or whatever the case be. So knowing that really helped out. Doing it right the first time, essentially, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and that kind of gives your customers more confidence because
it's on your car.
Yeah,
right.
If it's on your car and they go, it works for him, I'm going to bring my car, and then you can replicate that for them.
Right.
Yep. And they have that confidence because they know it's going to work.
Right. Yeah. I mean, for the most part, all the R&D stuff that we did on my car did translate to all the builds that we have done. Mm-hmm. Maybe besides a few things that a customer wanted to try out that I didn't have time to do on my car. And at that point, he knows he's testing it out for us. So it's experimental.
Being clear in those expectations.
Right. He knows the expectations. It may or may not work. It may blow up your motor. We just don't know. But you want to take the risk. That's okay with me. So if you want to sign off on that, by all means, save me a motor. So it's just one of those deals where you sign off on it. I'm good with it.
Well, somebody's always going to be like, especially when you get into the higher horsepower builds, somebody's always chasing that dragon. You can tell them like, hey, there's a 95% chance we blow your fucking motor here. And they're going to be like, okay, there's a 5% chance that I'm going to embarrass this other guy at the track or whatever.
I have a customer that we just did that for.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yep. He's like, give me more. I'm like, here's more.
Yeah. I mean, if they
give
sign
me a
off
little bit
on
more,
it,
there you go.
And you know what? At the end of the day, it's like if they want it, it's like I'll give it to you. I mean, like just that one glory run, I think is what it's called. I found out that's what it's called recently.
Yep. The glory runs.
I wonder if that's what T1 did with that GTR when it beat the Lambo.
I don't know. That thing is wicked fast,
dude.
Oh my gosh, that just brought back a memory. That T1 run was insane.
It was like that one Super Bowl, like what was it, 3 or 4 years ago? I don't do sports ball, but it was the one where they're like leading by like 40 points or 30 points, and then the other team, I think it was the Patriots and the Falcons, right?
And Patriots. I remember that game.
Yeah, and
I was happy.
I lost money on that game.
I was so happy that the Patriots were going to lose the Super Bowl. I'm like, how do you F this one up?
Yeah.
But that's what I was thinking about. I was like, dude, that was such a good comeback.
Champagne in the locker room halftime. They were like done over.
But seeing that, like, because we saw, like, when we were, because you were at Texas 2K too, right?
Yeah.
Like, when you see that GTR, like, and first of all, UGR plays dirty. We all know this. But when you saw that T1 thing just blow by it, like, I could just imagine being the UGR guy. Just be like, what the fuck is this? But, yeah, the glory runs. Like, you're always going to have that customer that's chasing that. And you know what? You kind of need those customers, too. I know of another company that built some very fast cars. I'm not going to say who it is, but or at least not on air. But it's like their customer that always wants to be number one in the industry.
Yep.
It's like, we'll give it to you, but you're going to be paying, like, we're talking high six-figure bills here,
right,
you know,
right.
just freaking crazy. But and do you have any issues, like, dealing with those what's the word I'm looking for? Like telling them up front ever, or are they usually just fine with it? Like setting the expectation.
As far as,
like, just being like, have you ever had anybody be like, hey, send it? They blow their shit up, and then they're like, well, this is your fault, or you never really had that happen?
no, I mean, we're pretty cautious on how we do a lot of our stuff. Like I said, most of the testing stuff has been done on my car, so we know what the expectations are going into it. So we'll know, like, this car would do 800, this car would do 900, and this one might do 1,000 because it's a little different. It has a little something different to it, whatnot. But expectations, they know beforehand what they can expect out of it, because it's like puzzles. Put this kit together, and this will make this. Put this kit together, it will make that.
Yeah.
It's like, it just works. That's how it works. But when we have been doing a little bit more tuning wise. Because I know Kyle was here, that one from MAP.
Yeah.
He mentioned that Brian was our calibrator now. So Brian's been doing all of my RS3 calibration stuff for the last year or two now, and he's been amazing at developing new stuff for it. So, I mean, we'll get new stuff here and there that we didn't know we could do with these other cars, and we'll have them come back and revise the tunes for them, and give them a little bit extra juice that still capable of doing. So with that, it's it's going into it. They all know expectations. There's potentially some left on the table, and we don't build cars to the max just because my name's on it.
Right, exactly.
So,
you don't want to be the guy that's just like.
Yeah, there's another ratified car
right.
on the back of a flatbed.
Yeah, like I think the popular one right now in the Volkswagen community, I think, is like APR, right? Like they just send it to the moon, is what I hear.
Yeah. So we're really conservative on our stuff. I mean, we'll turn it up. We'll give you a map that you can use to kill.
Yeah.
We'll give you a kill map, but I'll warn you, don't use it unless you have to.
I think Chaz had a kill map on his Porsche.
Yeah. So it's like, so we wanted to last. We wanted to. You spend $60,000. I want you to enjoy the car. I don't want it to be on the flatbed back to my shop every week.
Yeah, and you get a lot of miles on your car too, right?
Oh yeah. I went almost my first build. I went almost 40,000 miles on it.
And that was 800, I think.
That was 900.
900.
Yeah, 900 on the turbo kit that came from RPC. I forget what the actual company's name was now. It's been a while, but. That turbo kit was essentially identical to the IRA's 1000 kit. Okay. Same turbo, just different manifold. So yeah, that setup was almost 40,000 miles of hard miles. That's all
you did a rally on that, right?
Yeah, that was the one I hit in 200 or 190, whatever, on self flat. So
we round up 200.
I was gonna say we round up.
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, that car went through its paces, and I think I had one catastrophic failure. Two on my car so far. One was the original clutch basket on Power Cruise number 1 when it was still stock motor. The clutch basket input shaft sheared right off the basket, and that was a known issue. Since then, we've had DCT, Deca. We've been using his clutch kits with the billet covered all that, and not an issue. Those clutches are 40,000 miles on it now, of 1,100 horsepower at the last, I don't know, 2,000 miles or so it's been being on. It still holds up to this day.
So when the clutch basket gives out, then how bad of, because like Sean's more technical than I am, so teach me a thing or two about a thing or two.
Sure.
So I guess when you say catastrophic, like how bad is that? Like what kind of bills the customer
So
getting?
it wasn't catastrophic to the point where it's like, to me, catastrophic is something that leaves you stranded. That's my description of it. So it would leave you stranded, and literally it just, you have no gears.
Okay.
Because the clutch is unspinning. There's no, there's no friction grabbing or nothing like that. It's just stationary at that point, because the input shaft is mated to the flywheel, which spins at the RPM of the engine, and it spins the clutches. So without that spinning, your car ain't moving.
Okay.
So literally, it happened at Park Cruise the last day, taking Clarissa and them out on it, and it sheared off, and we lost all gears. So that was my first issue that I've ever been towed back to the pits. And then second time was this first Park Cruise this year, PC1. I think it was in May or April or something like that, or Mother's Day. That's when it was. I broke a valve spring. Yeah, but that was literally, it wasn't catastrophic. I could still drive it. It just misfired. Okay. But no, I limped it back, and we had it fixed within the next day. So just replacing the valve spray and going again. Okay. So considering my car now has 55,000 miles on it, and it's still together at the power level it is, I'm sold. So that's why I keep building them, because
that's freaking crazy.
They're almost indestructible if you do them right.
So what's the secret with the 5-cylinder? Like what makes it so different from, I feel like, are there any other Audis capable of doing this besides the R8?
Well, they call the RS3 TTRS the new gen, the Evo 855 is what they call it, the all aluminum block. That one is essentially a half of a Huracan engine is what everybody says it is. Not only that, they come factory with port and direct injection, so you have all the fuel in the world. Like right now, all our cars that are 1,000 horsepower plus all run the factory direct injection injectors, just upgraded port injectors. No, we can go up to as far as 2,000 cc port injectors, but I think the most right now we run is 1,700, which is on my car. Wow. And it's just being able to give it all the fuel it needs is really the one missing piece out of all these other cars. Like, you can make a Volkswagen super fast if you add port injection. The 4-cylinder, they're decent. They're very limited just because of how much air they can take in, being how small they are. But you can still see some in the 800 horsepower range, and they're still super quick. But you have to add port injection, and it's all in the fuel that really gets it going that fast.
That one extra cylinder though between my car and your car, I mean, because like the GTIs, I think they max out like realistically, like reliably, like 550. I think is what I've heard, roughly. What do you think you could? I mean, you've proven it. You could reliably max it out at least 900 with that one extra cylinder in yours, which is freaking gnarly.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't know who actually has the most horsepower. If I remember right, Hank probably does. I think it's like 1250 or 1260 or something like that.
Okay. Is he kind of like the OG when it comes to the RS3 platform?
Yeah. He's been in it for a long time. He's been messing with it since the early 90s, I believe. Okay. With Sam's engine. He has a few of those that he's built. So it's he's been around for a while, and he really blew up with the RS3 and the TTRS, this platform anyways, and that's what blew him up really big. Yeah, there's some guys like that just find a platform they're really good at, and then they just make bank off of it too. I mean, it's just, so do you ever see yourself? So I know you're kind of like expanding into Supras right now, and that what is it, Ecutech, I think is what it is. Do you see yourself kind of doing more and more platforms, or do you just kind of want to stay like a specialist? Yeah, I mean, you can't wear all the hats, especially when you're working on all these cars. And there's too many things you have to know of like certain platforms, their weaknesses, their pros, their cons, all that. And I'm not gonna memorize all of it. Right. And knowing a handful of them makes me a specialist in them, and that's, I think, as customers come by, I think me having that knowledge on just that specific platform, whether it be the RS3, the Supra, and doing a little bit of GTRs now too, just knowing that makes them feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
Than me having to, rely on other people to give information to me, then I have to share it to them.
Right.
Because I'm not gonna know, like the Mustang Coyote engines. I can't tell you what liter it is. I think it's a 5.0.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
But if you talk to Mike Johnson or
Dave Rasmussen.
They'll tell you everything about it.
Yep.
And I leave that to them.
Yeah.
I don't.
That makes sense.
I don't need to know that because there's already people who already know it. So I stick to my little bubble. I'll expand out to other platforms that I see.
Some things are universal too.
Yeah, like the Supra, the B58. That engine's in the BMWs.
Yeah.
So that in itself is worth it to me because I also work on BMWs. So knowing that, I can translate that into the BMW world too, which helps everybody else out. So it's got to be like the right vehicle, and to have a good following behind it before I'll say, yeah, I'll take that on.
Yeah, before you invest a lot of time into
Right.
it. Like, there's a million Supras here now.
Right, exactly. So, and I think we have the fastest Supra. I don't know for sure.
In Minnesota?
Yeah, I think so, as far as I know, because nobody's ever said anything.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody
Yeah.
faster than you now that I think about it, power-wise.
Yeah.
Who's gonna call you out? You got the fastest Audi.
Yeah, you got the F. Yeah, because
Well, I don't have the fastest Audi. I mean,
Well, in
there's
Minnesota.
that sheepy R8. So I mean,
yeah,
the
that's probably the
Joes.
only other fast
Yeah,
Audi.
I'm not the fastest. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But as far as being the fastest four door, I think I got that. But it's it's as far as the Supra goes. Like I said, I don't know of anybody making more than 800 in Minnesota. As far as that goes, just the Supra. I mean, the B50. I think there's other BMWs out there that are close to 1,000.
Maybe, yeah.
But on the Supra, like I said, it's an untapped market in Minnesota for some reason. Being that there's a lot of Asian people here, they all love Toyotas.
Right.
They all love the Supra. It's like, why don't I just tap into that market?
Uh-huh.
And that's kind of where I'm at right now.
And they're gonna keep dropping in price once things kind of correct a little bit. That's one of the few platforms I've actually seen trending down in price. Mm-hmm. There's a lot
that's like every platform actually.
You would think so, but a lot of these dummies in the Viper forums, right? They keep saying like, "Oh, just wait till a price correction." It's like, no, that Viper's gonna stay at 150K, dude.
I don't know. I've got this eye on the market, and I watch it all the time because that's what I do. I don't just scroll through Facebook. I go on Marketplace and I look at cars all day.
Who needs Kelly Blue Book? We got Sean.
and I see prices, and I'm seeing people, where it says like, here's the original price, and then it'll have a line through it, and it'll be reduced because people aren't able to sell them for what they want.
I like it.
And they're reducing the prices, and you can see it too, like just going on like Bring a Trailer. You can look up, any make or model, and they'll show like all the little like points where it's like sold, it was the price was here, but it didn't sell, and you can see a lot of these cars over the last 6 months, they've gone down.
Yeah, and I think it's generally just the whole entire market.
Yeah,
everything's going down.
It is the whole market.
Yeah.
It's going down. I don't think there's a single car that's up.
Your collectors might be, but for the most part, your general Supra or even the RS3s are coming down a little bit, but they're still holding their value pretty well compared to other cars. At least from what I can see. I mean, I'm not in the market to buy any more cars because I have too many, but just from what I've seen.
Do you think when you modify RS3, does it go up in value?
No. Any money you put into a car for modification, you'll never get back.
Never.
No?
Never.
What about like a UGR Lambo? I see
those.
They still lose their hair on it.
They still lose it because if you look in like a 2,000, 3,000 horsepower UGR car, you're buying that Lambo 2 times over, 3 times over.
Yeah.
You'll never get that money back. You might be able to squeeze like 200K, 300K out of it after the fact.
Yeah,
but
what was the yellow one listed for? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Something ridiculous. I think it was like $1.5 million or something. They tried to give for it.
Yeah.
The STO?
I mean, unless it's like a really collective car, they might be able to. But
the one that was ran super hard at Texas 2K, they wanted 1.5.
I think that was a marketing ploy.
Yeah.
They are full of shit if they think they're going to get $1.5 million. I think they took it down or whatever, but
They must have been clowned.
But at the same time, like, you have to think about what went into that car too. But they're still not gonna. You're not gonna get your money's worth back.
I feel like there's no way that they paid. What was that? That car was probably like 500, 400.
About.
And then could a UGR build cost $1 million?
I could see it. Maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Really?
They can charge whatever they want.
Dude, if you knew what what some of the invoices, some of these 2,000-3,000 horsepower cars are, like we're talking like good into the 6 figures, but there's a price to be the best.
Well, yeah, I know 6 figures, but 7 figures into a build.
Close. If it's an R&D car, I could see it because like you're trying out again 2 or 3 fuel pumps, and if you're talking about Lamborghini fuel pumps, that's a different story too.
Yeah, I can't imagine UGR is just fronting that cost.
Oh, that's all clients.
We're looking for clients that want to be R&D.
Well, that's the thing. Like the hungry people, like they're the ones that push forward. That's where the competition is. It's not the shops that are competing.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it is, but sometimes you just need. I feel like every shop needs that one ego. You know, like the one ego. It's like, here, take all the money. Let's make this bitch as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And you know, we've seen that there's some cars at Texas 2K that they had those egos, and that's why those cars exist. That's why like 2,000 horsepower was the shit. Like what, 5-6 years ago? Like that was the.
Yep.
Now we're in the 3s, 3.5, and it's only a few years later because there's money.
Yeah, even the street cars. If you're not 1,000, you're slow.
Yeah, Texas. If you don't have 1,000, we're not racing.
Oh, even like nowadays, like on the street, like you can get rolled up on a BMW and it's pushing 800 to 1,000, and it's like if you're not running like close to that 4 digits, like that's like the new like the 1%ers. Like if you're not like, or even I think it used to be like that was the 1% would have like that much power. Now it's probably like closer to like maybe 10%.
So many people have 1,000.
Yeah,
it's so
you'd
easy.
be surprised. I've ran into a lot of people on the streets and at the track. Like you wouldn't expect this car to have 1,000 horsepower, and they're like, "Yeah, it's got about 1,200." It's like, damn. It's like no wonder you kept up with me, or no wonder you passed me. So it's like it's really subtle. You never know. Like some of the Evos, like you never know when they're fast.
They all look the same.
They all look the same. It's like you race one, you're like, that one's going to be slow. You just look at it, I'll beat that. Next thing you run it, it puts a bust on you. You're like, holy shit. It's like you never expect. I mean, you expect it, but you just don't know.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Like back in the day, like I feel like if you ever saw like an Evo and it had the intercooler, upgraded intercooler, you're like, all right, don't mess with that guy. But now it's like he's slow or he's fast.
Yep.
I can't tell.
No way. Well, how about like, when we were coming back from Texas, that dude who was missing 3rd gear or whatever. Remember the guy that raced us here?
Oh,
like
he was missing. Yeah, it was a Honda that was missing 3rd gear, and he was just putting bus links on me.
This is middle of winter, and this guy rolls down his window. I'm missing a gear, and we're like, it's 800 horsepower Durango, like 750 at the wheels, on that gas, I think, but ridiculous. Speaking of street racing, though, do you have a history in that at all?
Not really.
No?
I mean, within the last couple of years with this RS3, I've gone out more, and
But early on, not so much.
I mean, the thing is, remember, I lived out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, true.
I lived
so you weren't part of some
Tracy,
foods.
Marshall area. There was no scene down there. If anything, it's when I came up here for the weekend or something to hang out with my buddies and cousins and whatnot. We go out to University, the old Sears lot, whatnot. We do that, but other than street racing, no, I didn't get too much into it up until recently. With the RS3, with the Gapplebee's group and all the other little groups that go on up here.
Yeah, the secret groups. Yeah.
I mean, we do a little bit here and there with them, but I don't make it a thing to go out every weekend,
right?
Because these guys are out till like 3-4 o'clock in the morning. It's like
it's a lot.
I got a life, so it's like I get up in the morning. I got stuff to do. So I mean, I'll go out when I get called out, or I'll go out when I know there'll be fast cars out.
Okay. Do you ever throw down money on some of those, or not so much?
No, I mean I do it for fun. I don't care if I win or lose. If you ask anybody, I am the least competitive person in the world. And Trey gets mad at me for doing that. Like he's like, I need you to beat this car. I'm like, I don't care if I win or lose. I just want to see how.
Fun.
I just want to race.
I just want to see how it does. And if I beat him, great. If I don't, he's got a fast car.
Good for him.
Yeah. So I'm the least competitive person in the world.
Yeah, you just kind of do it for yourself. You're like, let's see if we can turn it up a little bit more and
Yeah.
just see what it does.
Right, exactly. I mean,
Okay, I like
so-
where you're at with that. Did you did you listen to the episode with Trey by chance? Or no?
I listened to most of it, yeah.
Yeah, then when he was talking about like, oh man, my dad's gonna hear this or whatever, like his little street racing story.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, he gets a lot of it from me, but I mean, I didn't get in trouble for street racing, but I got in trouble for a lot of stupid stuff, and
Yeah.
you know, he's a kid.
Gotta
Shit
learn
happens.
along the way.
Shit happens. As long as he's not doing drugs and going in jail, I'm good. I mean, if he goes to jail for street racing, whatever. he'll get out. It's not like it ruined his life. He can be doing other things, you know.
Yeah, no, dude. Yeah, it's crazy. Like when you think about like in the grand scheme of things, like how little street racing, like it's not as bad as most people make it
Right.
out to be. Now, granted, like when we're talking about people like weaving in and out and takeovers and where
Yeah,
people actually
takeovers
die.
is just stupid as shit.
Yeah,
But
people get hurt at those.
yeah, but you know, what we do in the middle of the night.
with nobody to see.
Barely
Yeah.
any cars on the freeway.
Yeah.
And if it is, you hit somebody, you're gonna hit the person next to you you're racing.
Yeah,
And that's
or-
really it.
or
And that's the
yeah.
risk you take.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've seen some videos online where street racing it does get a little dangerous because they do like a stupid maneuver that they shouldn't do,
Yeah.
or they don't let off when they're supposed to, stuff like that. Yeah,
When
it can-
ego gets involved.
right? When
yeah.
it can happen. Don't get me wrong, but the way the groups that are around here that I've been with, I don't think I've ever had any incident where I felt unsafe. So, I mean, I think for the most part, the people who host it are pretty adamant about that.
Yeah.
So you have your rules, and if you don't stick to the rules, you're not invited next time.
Yeah, they have a good setup. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've talked to some of people that run that group, and it's a good setup.
Mm-hmm.
Because like if you let everybody and anybody go, like Sean, you have some street racing stories where you would go with your slow ass cars and you. Would
Oh
just,
yeah, I would have the most fun. I didn't care. Yeah, like you said, I'm like you. I'm not competitive. Like I know like I'm there for a good time.
Right.
And if I get a run, that's that's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm
that was
not
us
there,
in Texas, yeah.
I wasn't there to like throw money down or anything. It was all just for sport.
Right.
So that's like, and getting to watch people do it and the crowds, I really miss it. And I think you and me should go out one of these weekends and go check it out with Trey.
It's not a bad idea. Speaking of, I always, because like again, Rat's 6 houses down for me. I know when y'all are about to go out have a good night because I could hear your cars start up.
Yep.
And like even from like my deck, I could actually like see like lights. I think at like Trey's garage stall.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh yeah, they're gonna go out racing, and I was just like,
Yeah, usually if it's about 11 o'clock and you hear a car start, that means he's going out
yep,
on a Saturday or on Friday or Saturday night.
yep. I always knew it. And you know what's funny? I always tell the story. It's like, because we got Nth Moto right over there too.
Yep.
And like for the longest time, I was like, man, we got a lot of freaking R8s in this town or whatever. And then I piece it together. It's like, oh, it's the RS3s. And then I'd always hear the Vipers. Like I was just like, there's a lot of V10s here for some reason, because they sound super similar to an R8.
Yeah, they do. They depend on what exhaust is on it, but
Yeah, true.
but wide open, they just sound amazing. It's a different
Yeah.
tone.
So okay, so like we mentioned earlier in the episode, it's like it's half an R8 block or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Is it actually like exact same specs like stroke bore and all that, or
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't know the specifics of the R8 engine to a T. I mean,
Right.
I'd have to look it up. I have the specs in front of me, but it's very similar in design. Like the heads are similar. Like you can take a head and put it on one of these, I believe.
okay?
You just have to flip it around. So the heads are similar. The block is a little different. I don't know if the stroke or the bore is the same. It most likely is the same because a lot of parts are interchangeable, and that's
Right.
how Audi and Volkswagen does it. It's a lot of Legos. Like you can take something from another platform, put it on a different car, and it'll fit. Especially the transmissions. Like you can literally put a 01E. It is a B5S4 transmission. You can put that on any of the engines, as
Okay.
long as they have multiple bolt holes that you can use. There might be one that's undrilled that you have to drill out and
Right.
use, but otherwise they all bolt up.
Mhm.
You may have to switch like timing covers because there's, like I said, again, bolt holes may not be there, but other timing covers will fit it, and we'll have all the bolt holes there for you to just drill out and tap, and you're good to go. So they're really, really universal. So I would imagine that it's probably really similar.
Okay. If you were to take your car up another notch, which I'm sure you're getting used to the new 200 horsepower you have in there. Actually, are you used to it already?
I don't know. I don't run it much.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I call it my map 4 is my kill map.
Okay.
I only ran it twice at Power Cruise this last event, and that was against Joe at the with the R8 CP car.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I ran him at the Sunday's row race, and he got me by literally maybe half a fender. So I was very, very surprised how.
Wow.
But you could tell he was creeping up top. Like if we would have went further than the 8th, like by the end of the quarter, he would probably be like a car or two ahead of me.
Wow. Okay.
But I'll take that. Considering how much money it takes to build an R8 to his level, and considering how much I have into mine, losing by that much doesn't make me feel so bad.
Right. Exactly.
So, what is the price? So with the car, 50, 52, and then mods.
My car?
Yeah.
So if you want to build something similar to mine, you'll probably be in it right about, I'd say probably about $60,000 into the build.
Wow.
With the car, another 50-ish, so you'd be about 110-ish into it. That's if you dropped it off to me and we did all the work. Some of the stuff you can do yourself. You can yank the engine out and bring it to me. I'll build the engine. You can assemble it in your garage. I have 2 customers that do that right now. That they just bring me their blocks and engines, and I build it for them, and he does all the work. It works out for him.
Yeah.
So you can save a little bit of money by doing some stuff like that, but generally, like a big 1100 horsepower, 1200 horsepower build, you'll be in the 60th grade.
All right.
Yeah.
Which it's kind of fair.
Well, yeah, that was actually a little bit more than I thought. I thought it would.
Well, you gotta
like,
consider. Look at the R8. It costs $60,000 just to build that transmission.
Oh yeah. Oh my
That's not even the turbo kit.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to beef up the transmission before you can even add power.
Yeah, because just the turbo kit's like what, $30,000, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like the RS3, the only thing I've done in my transmission is literally clutches, stock internal, stock axles, stock drive shafts, just clutches.
Right, and to be at the level of power that Joe's at in his R8, to beef up, you have to beef up the transmission. I think what's the cutoff? I think Sam was telling me about this when I was at the shop last. I think like 900 horsepower is the cutoff before you have to start beefing it up. So it's like, damn. So there's money that has to go into those twin turbo Huracan and R8 builds.
Just the basic build on the transmission is like $30,000. It's just ridiculously more expensive because granted you're at another level. Like when you're in the R8 level, that means you have fuck you money. Basically,
yeah.
I don't have
dude,
that.
Those guys felt poor at Monterey last week, though. Like if you saw like an R8, you were just like, oh damn, that guy's
that
broke.
was a peasant's car.
Yeah, because I was like, dude, like, did you see the video that went viral? I think it was like 9 or 10 Bugattis just following each other in after a cruise. Just crazy. Yeah, I really Monterey is like a dream event for me to go to.
Sure. Yeah.
But I want to go to all of them. Are you gonna go to who was it? Sam telling us about GTR World Cup or whatever, or no, the World Cup event in Maryland?
I kind of want to, but it makes it difficult for the whole shop to kind of go, or to me to be gone. Maybe this year I might be able to, because I'll have people who actually run the shops for me. Yeah, I might be able to swing out there with Sam, but for the most part, I don't plan to. Okay. Unless everything kind of lines up, then I probably will. But I mean, the shop itself, we do quite a bit of events locally, and then we do a few outside. So I mean, to add another one on top of it is, I still have bills to pay. So it's like it costs a lot of money to send these guys out with me. Like especially the TX2K we went this year. It was like a $20,000 bill to send everybody out there. You know?
But you had like what, 10, 15 people with you?
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, I bought all their tickets. I paid for all the Airbnb and all that stuff too. So it's like it adds
up. It was a good looking Airbnb.
It adds up quick. So I mean, granted, it's a business expense. I want my guys to enjoy working for me, not just work your life off for me. I want you to have fun. We're gonna go do events.
You have a good team over there too.
I do. I keep hearing that. Everybody loves talking to Sam because he's a really personable person. And my texts, they just bust ass all the time. So it really helps having the right people around you.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I always say this, like I'm forever indebted to you guys, because last year when I was, when I had my, when you guys had to reseal my bed plate, like that was literally the second brokest I've ever been. Right now is the first, but that was the second brokest I ever was in my life, and I was just like, oh shit, and I was, I had my rally to go on. I think literally 24 hours later, and I'm leaking oil into the driveway, and I had decided not to bring the car because I was just like, fuck this car, I don't trust this car. Yep. I was like, the last thing I need is for something to happen 1,000 miles away from home. So that's why I rode shotgun in Chaz's Corvette. But nonetheless, it's like, you were like half the price of what the other shop quoted me. And granted, you know, the other shop was way closer to the cities, and you know, I don't know. I just kind of felt like it wasn't very personable. You know?
Sure.
And that's why I love talking to Sam, because he's like, yeah, he's just down to shoot the shit, but he also
Yep.
gets work done. I think it looks like it. And that's why I keep going over there, because like, you know, you guys will tell me how it is. Like, hey, you need to get this. Cool. If you don't need to, we don't have to.
That's the whole motto. I mean, I think that's what separates us from a lot of other shops is we're very personable.
Yeah.
You know, if you see me on the street, talk to me. If I see you at the shop, I'll talk to you. You know, it's just,
Right.
I don't, you know, and that's being very personable is like one thing that I loved about doing this is getting to know everybody.
Yeah.
You know, especially when I'm building your car. You know, you're giving me $60,000, $50,000.
Right.
I don't want you to be another number.
Yeah.
You know, oh, he's customer number 205 with the RS3. You know, I don't want you to be that. I invite you, you know, like most of all the RS3 guys that we built cars for all hang out with us at events. You know, I invite them out. I, you know, take care of them while they're there. You know, and I don't ask anything in return. Just bring the car back when it breaks, or when you have issues, or you want to go bigger, bring it back. That's all I ask for. But having that personal relationship with a lot of customers is like I said, makes us really different from other shops, because you're not another number, and that's what I feel makes us a lot more different.
Yeah, it's tricky when you're putting out a ton of work, you know. So, and maybe that might. I mean, I don't know if that would change if the more you scale, because you know we have 2 shops, 3 shops,
Right.
4 shops. It's hard to keep up with everybody. But
Exactly.
the people you do keep up with, you're able to.
Right. Exactly. I mean, yeah. As you said, you know, I'm growing bigger and bigger. It's harder for me to get to talk to everybody or have a one-on-one conversation with everybody. But when I do, you know, Sam knows how I generally want conversations to go, or how I want things done. So he'll handle that, and which is great. Trey's learning that. He's learning the ropes, so he's learning it and getting used to it, and he's starting to do it more and more. But you know, like I said, if we're growing more and more, it sucks that I can't talk to everybody.
Yeah.
But like I said, I try to a lot, and I also have that text chain that goes out every time you bring a car in.
Yeah. I've never. That's not actually you, right?
It's me too.
It's sometimes.
Yeah, most of the time it's me. Sam will jump in when I'm busy.
Okay.
So
somebody's actually texting me on those. Then.
Yep.
Okay.
So say if you bring your car in, the text will go out the next day saying, "Hey, this is Rat. How's our work? Whatever." That's automated, but the reply back is usually either Sam or I.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So
I'm caught up.
yeah, that's how I kind of make it personable too. Is like I invite you to bring it back, or I invite you to tell me if we did anything wrong.
Yeah.
You know, because my motto is, you know, we're all humans. We all make mistakes. We're gonna make mistakes, especially at the shop. At this level where I can't control everything, when I have 10 guys running around doing everything, you know, they make mistakes. It's how you handle all the mistakes that come through that really shows who you are.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's, you know, if you have a problem with the shop, or if you have anything that goes wrong, I'm the one that handles it. You know, I personally reach out. I personally make it right. Or you know, like last week we had a car that I had a new tech put together, intercooler and coilovers and whatnot, and he picked the car up on a Friday night, like at 5:00. Calls me at 7, and it goes automatically to voicemail. Calls me at 7, said, "Hey, it dumped coolant all over the place. I don't know what happened." I was like, "Oh shit." I was like, "Great, it's Friday night. It's 7:00. Whatever. I'll call him back." I called him back, and this is like on my way home. And I called him back, and he's like, "Yeah, I pulled into a Volkswagen dealer. It's just dumping coolant all over." I'm like, "That's fine. Do you have a way home?" I said, "Yep, he's got it right." "Okay, perfect. I'll send a tow truck for it." Sent the tow truck for it. Tow truck brought it there Saturday morning. I went in Saturday, looked at it, and what happened is the coolant hose, one of the brackets that is secured by a bolt, had backed out, and the bracket moved the hose back, and it got cut by the alternator belt, and then it spit coolant everywhere. And then what did I do? I fixed it. Called him, said I fixed it. "Hey, where do you live?" Dropped it off at his house, and cleaned up his car, and gave it back to him. Super happy that I got it done in 24 hours on a Saturday on my day off.
Yeah.
So it's like the things that you go above and beyond, like I said, really makes you who you are, and that's me to a T, because I will literally give you the shirt off my back if you don't have one, and that in itself, hopefully in the future, pays me back tenfold.
Right.
Because I really believe in karma.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, well, I think that guy's definitely got some good words to
I'm the
say
same way.
about you.
Yeah, because like for me, it's like I drop my car off. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna go on this stupid fucking rally that I'm losing 25 grand on, and I'm just like, I'm gonna leave this car and lose another, whatever amount on it. And then I get a text like I think 6 hours later. It's like, hey, your car's done. I'm like, what the fuck? Like I couldn't believe it. Like I was just like, dude, it was leaking. Like I was thinking like in my head like this is gonna cost a lot, and like I literally was thinking about selling that stupid Volkswagen.
I know who you bought it from too. That's what I heard. You bought it from Kyle.
Yeah.
He's a customer of ours, or his.
Yeah.
I think one of Menards, one of his good friends, has an RS3 that we built too.
Yeah. But yeah, no, and that's where I was just like, how fat, like you got me in immediately. I was like, holy shit, like you didn't have to do this for me. So like, and I don't know, it just kind of blew my mind, and maybe that doesn't apply to everybody else, but from what it sounds like, it kind of does. It's like, hey, we just want to get you taken care of.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be. I mean, that's one thing I always hated, because my wife said the same thing too. That she bought a Acadia a couple years ago, and it had some work that needed to be redone after she bought it. So she brought it back to the dealer, and the dealer said, drop it off 9 o'clock, have it done to you by noon. Noon comes around, no call. 3 o'clock comes around, no call. She calls them at 5 o'clock before they close. Oh, we didn't get it in today. Well, we'll have to do it tomorrow. It's like, where's the communication in all this? Like, you tell me to drop it off at this time. I expect you tell me at this time it should be ready, and I get no call. And that's one thing I will never do to a customer. I mean, granted, some stuff might slip through.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens. And I'm not perfect by any means, but when the stuff does happen, I make it right. I'd rather lose a couple $100 than to lose a customer. No.
Right, because you never know what it can lead to. Like
Exactly.
The way I described this to Sean, I think last week just before we filmed with Jen, it's like you plant those seeds and you never know what they're going to turn into.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, it's like I always used to think like, hey, one of these days I'm going to harvest the seeds that I plant today or whatever. But then I told Sean, I'm like, dude, I'm kind of growing a forest here. Like you never know. Like you're just constantly expanding. You want to water that because like if you never know what can happen.
Exactly.
If you don't take care of that customer, if they're pissed off, they're going to start, like the last thing you want is a silent complainer.
Yeah.
Those are the worst because
Yeah.
they don't even give you the opportunity to make it right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you'll get those. Like I said, everybody can't be perfect. You can't please everybody
You
either.
get damn close though.
You can try as hard as you can, man. I don't know. I haven't met anybody perfect yet, so it's like, and like I said, it's hard to please some people too. No matter what you do, you'll never be able to please them.
Those two.
And those are the ones you just cut ties with. Like it's just not worth the hassle. So those are the. I mean, I have a few, the Blacklist. So
Yeah.
I have a few that I've cut ties with, and and I feel much better about it. So
Can you tell us a little bit about the Blacklist?
I shouldn't say much, but there's a few people.
Well, you don't have to get super detailed, but I kind of want to know like what
Just drop the
what
person's
makes somebody
address.
get on the Blacklist.
To be on the Blacklist is making demands that are outrageous, like coming in and making a price up for yourself. Like, this is what I need done. This is what I'm going to pay. I'm not paying anymore, or just complains about everything that you try to make right. Like you just can't please them. Those are the type of people that end up on the Blacklist, or the ones that are just super cheap and want things done next to nothing or for free.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'll help you out where I can, but when it starts costing me time to have my guys do stuff for you and not get reimbursed back on their time, and that's when I kind of cut it off. Like, I'll personally do it. Like, if you need, I should say, like, if you need an air filter put in or something like that, or exhaust adjuster or something like that, yeah, I'm not going to pull my guys out to do it. I mean, I probably would if I'm busy, but, I mean, I have the free time. If I have the free time, I'll do it, because they're busy making, doing their own stuff, making the shop money. I can fix all these little stuff. But it's just like the small little, or the big little things that, just keeps on stacking up to the point where they're just really difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
So that's when you end up on the Blacklist. I mean, I can't really say for sure the last one I had on there, but it's been a while since I had
That's
to
good.
put anybody on there.
I think people are kind of smartening up too. Like we have so somebody said it that Minnesota or Minneapolis, it's kind of like a little big city. Like we all know each other. Like today I was up at Lotus or whatever, and the waiter was what's it called? Like knew some of the people that I knew. It's just like it's such a small, tight knit community we have here. So it's like word gets around. Like don't be an asshole.
Yep. Yeah, especially the shops, especially the people who try to help you. If you're gonna be an asshole to them, guess what? You're gonna get turned away from all of them.
Yeah, I feel like in any service industry, that's one of the worst things you could do. Just because if you don't tip your waiter and you go to this restaurant often, they're not going to give you great service. They're going to come to your table the least because the person that tips the most or more than you do, they're going to get exceptional service. Or same with your barber. Like if you're not going to tip your barber, they're going to mess you up. And that's the same with your mechanic.
Are you saying I got a bad haircut? No. Okay, I was about to say, because my guy took care of me this time.
No, yeah. Well, did you tip him?
Yeah, I tip him always.
All right,
I actually texted him on Instagram. I'm like, hey, you in? I was in 2 hours later.
Oh, okay. So you guys are like that.
Yeah, I try to help everybody locally. Yeah, I try. Like, I want to get, and here's how I operate, is I want to get to the point where I can shout someone out and then I will never be able to get an appointment with them ever again. Like that's where I want to get in life. So then I have to find somebody else to go to because I made this guy too good and too big. It's like that's my goal in life.
Yeah, and so with my mechanic for the Durango Hellcat, me
Bryce.
and him are Bryce, he's been on the show. Me and him are really good friends. He went to Power Cruise with me. I invited him to stay with me. I let him drive the Durango. I trust him because he built it. This is almost his car than mine because everything he's done was with his hands. So I'm like, I trust you. If anybody can drive this thing, it's you. So I trust him. Not a lot of other people I would trust with that. So I like to keep it's and it helps me a lot because he comes over here. I'll say hey, just the other day my thermostat went out and I keep telling him
again.
Yeah, it went out again, third time. So he's like, okay, you know what, dude, I got this new thermostat that I've been wanting to try out. Let's test it, let's see how it goes. And he comes over, he puts it in. Even though on the Durango it's a 5-minute job and I could do it too. I've done it before, but he wanted
we have at Texas too.
Yeah, he wanted to see and make sure that it works and all this because it's a different filter or a thermostat meant for 70s Mopar engines.
Sure. Yep.
But it was a direct fit. Came with the gasket that came with it, fit right in, so it was perfect. So we're kind of testing it right now, but it's just that service of treat your mechanic right, and they'll go above and beyond for you.
Do you do house calls?
No, I used to back in Mankato when I was low.
Yeah,
but not anymore.
Well, now you have 2 shops, and
I just don't have the time. I mean, a lot of people specifically request for me to work on their cars, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't wrench often anymore. So I'm still involved with the whole process,
right? But
I'm not the one personally touching the cars anymore. I mean, I'll usually tell them up front, I'm not the one touching it.
Yeah, well, you're focused on the big picture.
Right. So, I mean, all the techs know what my goals are. It's do it right the first time so it never comes back, or find things that are going to be potential issues, whatnot. Just standard stuff. So they know what my expectations are, and they can, usually, get that out the way I want it to get out.
Dude, the list I got when I asked Sam, hey, can you guys just find everything that I need to get done, a general inspection? Because I was like, hey, I'm about to start autocrossing and everything, and the list I got back was holy shit, I got to take care of this car. But lo and behold, I think this was 3, 4, 5 months ago, you guys were like, hey, your water pump has this residue and all this stuff. I was just in 2 weeks ago to get that fixed, and it's I should have done that when I actually had money. So okay, so as we start wrapping up, because it is starting to get a little late here, so where do you see Ratified going in the next few years? Do you have any specific plans or under the radar?
Right now I'm just kind of testing out the 2 locations. It's not 100% concrete that I might keep both, and the only reason why I have 2 is because I'm still stuck in my lease in Chaska till May. Okay. So it's why not just run it out to see how it does. Okay. If it's profitable and self-sustaining, I'll just keep a crew down there and have that going. Most of the big projects, big jobs will end up being in St. Louis Park anyways, because luckily I was fortunate enough to be able to buy that building. So
Is it a bigger building and all that?
it is. It's 8,100 square feet. So we're adding a dyno in there too. So all the calibration, tuning, all that stuff will be done there. All the builds, like the big builds that require tuning or custom stuff will all be done there. But it's right now, like I said, it's just maybe 2 shops, but hopefully more.
Right.
to say. But I mean, I don't want to grow too big to the
Right.
point where it's like a corporate thing.
Yeah.
That's when you lose sight of what you really came from. And I'm super humble from what I started with to where I'm at now.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like I said, I don't want to lose that sight of being personable with all my customers, taking care of them like one-on-one stuff. So I mean, eventually I want to be maybe 3 stores max.
Okay.
But just have a team at each one, but solely focused on the branding of it, like the builds and stuff out of the St. Louis Park location, or a different location at some point in the future. I don't know for sure yet, but depends on how long we can keep the dyno on there. We'll see how the neighbors like that. I don't know yet because it's not up yet. So we'll see how that goes. If the neighbors complain and bitch, we'll move it down south somewhere.
Okay.
Because I like it down south here, and like the Shakopee, Prior Lake, Lakeville area. It's just more. Feels more homey because I come from
I
a
can see
small
that.
town.
Yeah.
I hate being up in.
Yeah, I
St.
can't
Louis.
do like Minneapolis and close.
I cannot. I hate traffic.
Yeah.
So I just can't do it. So I like it out here because everything's within 10 minutes of each other.
Right.
So I mean,
Yeah,
it
it's
works
close
out.
enough.
Yeah. So ideally, that's what I was looking for, was a shop down south.
Okay.
But I kept looking and looking and looking. There was
This
just
one was
nothing.
just right.
Yeah, it just I spent maybe 7 months looking.
Oh wow. Okay.
For another shop because I knew my lease was coming up. So I was like, well, I'm in a position to buy now. So might as well start looking. So
would you ever consider like starting to like develop or manufacture like your own parts or anything like that, or like R&D
I mean,
stuff?
eventually, Brian is coming on board for that.
Okay.
So he's the calibrator R&D guy. He did it for MAP too. So
Yeah.
he did a little bit of that, and we already developed our own little stuff here and there. I'm not gonna go too much detail with it, but it's like a module that can do CAN bus stuff, can take inputs and output it to the ECU, the stock ECU. So it's literally a piggyback that works like a standalone. That you can add like all these safety sensors in there that you wouldn't be able to do on the stock ECU. Like you can add EGTs, map sensors, coolant pressure sensors, whatever you want to. You can add it. It can even control nitrous and methanol injection, whatever you want.
Okay.
So I mean, it's a brainchild, Brian stuff. It's his thing, and he's incorporated it. And I'm lucky enough to help him develop it, especially giving him my car and letting him do all that, because he says it cures his boredom. And so if I give him all the stuff and it just cures his boredom, he loves doing it.
Okay.
So
Big puzzle solver kind
yeah,
of guy.
yeah. So he loves doing that stuff. So he's doing that, and then we'll eventually start making our own hard stuff like exhaust systems and intakes and stuff like that. But at that level, I don't see it happening within this year or next. Maybe in the future here, when we might have like another location that is capable of doing it. Because right now the shops that I have now are just strictly like auto repair based, or just you can't do fabrication or production out of it.
Right.
So until we can get to that level, I don't see it yet. But essentially, growing the shop to be, like you asked me where I want to see myself, is like I said, 2 or 3 shops at the most, but like a Sicil type shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just,
He's expanding too.
yeah. He's in Florida now.
Yeah.
So it's just like something like that. Having cool builds come out and having fun doing it. At that level, and getting recognition from other shops. We're still small in Minnesota. We're not big yet, but throughout the whole like enthusiast crowd, everybody knows Ratified.
Right.
They see a Ratified car, like, oh shit, that thing's fast. Watch out for that. But I want to expand outside of Minnesota a little bit too, so we can get the gathering of all the other enthusiasts to say, hey,
not as big as AMS or T1 or anything like that.
Right.
I mean, that's super huge. That's when it comes to corporate. You're doing corporate stuff with corporate money at that point. You're doing multi-million-dollar business deals and stuff like that. I mean, maybe in the future, but like I said, I don't
That's
want,
like when you're preparing for retirement. Sort of
right,
thing,
right.
yeah.
I don't want to lose sight of providing, the one-on-one with the customer stuff. So.
Mm-hmm. I always said, man, I would love to have a Nth Moto Viper and a Sissio GTR. That's like that. That's in the dream garage, man.
And a Ratified RS3.
We'll get there. Yeah, no, that's freaking awesome. Should we put a ribbon on it?
Yeah, so if you haven't listened to the show before, we ask our guests a question, and we kind of want to get to know you a little bit better with your kind of like
Your taste.
what taste in cars
Sure.
might be. Some people it's like, who knows? Some people it's like very obvious. But the question's going to be pretty simple to answer, I think, for you. You got to pick 3 cars. One's a daily, one's a track car, one's a show car.
Sure.
And you have an unlimited budget. So the only
Dude, I'm simple.
yeah.
I'm super simple.
Are you?
Daily, I just want to pick up. Really, just any
Okay.
pickup, as long as it's a diesel.
Okay.
So, like my Duramax, I'm happy with my Duramax.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll like the new Duramax.
Yeah.
Something simple like that for a daily. Track car, 911. No, GT3, GT2, don't matter which
Okay.
one. It's one of my dream cars.
It's got to have
actually.
the RS.
Yep.
I take it.
Yep. Yep. And then what was the other one?
Your show car.
My show car. Honestly, I wouldn't say it's a show car, but it's more of like a nostalgia car that I've been looking to get back in my life. I really, really want an untouched 92 Honda Civic SI hatchback in Milano red.
Ooh.
Like, that was my high school car. And I
Yeah.
want one that's 100% stock, and I've been looking. It's hard to find. We did find one on Bring a Trailer that went for like 13 grand or something like that, but that would have been perfect. But
Okay.
told you, man, I'm simple.
Yeah, see, some people it's really hard. Some people, they already know the answers.
Dude, some people are difficult.
Yeah, I feel like I'm surprised there was no Audis in that answer.
That's what I was expecting.
It's funny because my wife picks on me for this all the time. I get asked quite a bit, like, if you were to buy a car for your kid or something reliable, it's never an Audi or a Volkswagen or a Mercedes or a BMW. It's always a Toyota or a Honda. That's what I always tell them.
That's fair.
It's like, I might not be working on them anymore. Like, I might not know how reliable they are, but just from the past of having them, I never had to fix mine. I was always modifying them, yeah, but as far as leaving me stranded, never once. It's like, you can run that thing on 1 quart of oil and it'll bring you to the cities and back. From Marshall, it's a 3-hour drive, and I've done it. A quart of oil. So it's like, yeah, if you're gonna keep a car for something reliable, Honda, Toyota, you can't go wrong with either one.
Dude, they're hot nowadays too. They're good-looking cars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How much? Just because this reminded me. When my brother did his oil change, I want to say a year ago. How many quarts was he missing that one time?
Oh, he was missing like a full quart, maybe 2.
Yeah, he was missing a lot of oil, and he has the same GTI I got, except not tuned up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but nonetheless, we appreciate you coming
Yeah,
on.
of course.
I've been wanting to have you on forever. So glad we can make this work. As for where can everybody find you?
So social media?
Yeah.
Ratified.
Not your street address. You don't have to give that out.
I live in Shakopee, like 3 hours away from Harris. So,
Yeah.
no, you can find me on Instagram at RatifiedMN, or I think that's my only social. I don't know, honestly. Otherwise, Facebook. You just search Ratified. But otherwise, you can find me personally on Facebook at my name, Rathana Rathana. So.
Are you still looking for welds for the Supra?
No, actually, they shipped. They just shipped today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great, because we were about to do a shout out. Like, hey, if anybody has welds.
Yep, no, they literally just shipped today. I got the tracking number. I was like, fuck yes. It's been since April. So
I'm excited. Maybe Mike will sell his Mustang because he's coming for you.
I heard.
Do you got any events that you're planning? Because I know you guys just did a soft opening for the new location.
Yes. So as soon as the renovation is done on the St. Louis Park shop, because there's one side, there's literally 2 halves of a shop.
Mm-hmm.
One side was a frame rack area that had a pit, so we filled in the pit, and we're laying concrete on top of it to just level it out so we can actually drive and do whatnot and have our dyno put it in there. So once that's all done, we'll have a grand opening. I don't know a date yet, but we're expecting maybe end of September, early October. I know it might be a little cold then, but hopefully, cars
Hoodie
are still
weather.
out. Yeah.
Get those hoodies ordered. I'll get a Ratified hoodie.
Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, we'll end up doing a grand opening and then do a car show. I don't know if we'll be doing a dyno day just because we don't know how the city is going to act on that yet, or the neighbors. So we're just going to kind of play it by ear. But we are kind of keeping the dyno strictly to in-house tuning or rentals to other shops that we work closely with.
Yeah.
So fortunately, that's just kind of how we ended up going with it, just to keep wear and tear out of it. And plus, Moe's is right up the road there, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes there. And I told him straight up, hey, this is for in-house stuff. I know you spent X amount of dollars on your dyno, and he rents his out to the public. So
Yeah, I think they just posted a dyno day.
dyno night.
Dyno night. Yeah.
Yeah, I replied to that, so my bedtime's 8 o'clock. It's too late.
Yeah, well, it's nice. They don't have any neighbors over there, I don't think. So they have to worry about, because you're kind of in the city with St. Louis Park.
Well, the thing is, right across the street is a whole apartment complex. So literally across the street.
No dyno nights for you.
Yeah. So, and I think I'm bound by city ordinances that no noise after 6 o'clock or something like that, or 7 o'clock.
Interesting.
So-
Okay.
Street tuning is going to be a problem.
Yeah, we'll just do that in Chaska. Chaska's still got the nice roads, so we'll do that 101.
Yeah, except for that area they're doing construction, which is freaking nuts right now. Oh my gosh. Sean, where can people find you?
Yeah, so if you guys want to follow me, check out some of my cool cars. You can follow
That
me
you
on
never posted up?
Instagram at 1MN Mopar. Thank you, Harris.
You never post them. I gave you 300 photos. You never post
my
shit.
Gosh. I was going to post today, but then I'm so busy, man. I got a kid. I'm just running around. I got a family to take care of. I don't have time to be editing videos and
You have nothing to
posting
edit.
photos.
I gave you everything edited. Just post it. Just pay me a monthly fee and I'll manage it for you, like for my other clients.
All right.
Anywho, make sure you guys are following the newsletter. I tried my best to send those out weekly. I'm really horrible at that. But nonetheless, you know where to find me, Monoxide. I think that pretty much...
Is there anything that you're planning? Any events? Like this?
Good point. So yeah, I'm paying Sean for my half of my ticket for the Community Rally. I've talked about this many a times. I've done 2 of the 3 last 10,000 Lakes rallies. Super fun events. I've always had a blast. We always end up getting shit-faced and smoking cigars on a parking ramp or something, with the cars turned off, obviously. So this year we're doing the Community Rally. We're just about paid up on that ticket, and we're doing a really fun theme. So we're not sharing anything about that yet. But get to the Bima. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, I think you just ruined it. But
No. They'll find out.
But that was a terrible impression. So maybe not.
Yeah. Okay, whatever. Anyways, until next time, let us know who you guys want to see on this episode or on the show, I suppose. Make sure you're following the YouTube, the TikToks, all that. And I think that's pretty much it. So thanks for showing up, and see you guys next time.
Yep. Bye.